Well, yeah, I mean, you see Mr. Beast, just make it look so easy. He just throws his face on a thumbnail and gets 100 million views.
Yep.
Who else has 100 million views?
Who's that?
Not us. Hey there, everybody.
I was supposed to be like,
welcome to PixelLit. My name is Kevin. Alongside with me, as always, is Phil. And today on the show, we have very special guests. Dylan, who is the developer of, what is it called now? Wildlands?
Oh, yeah, the rebrand is Wildlander, formerly Ultimate Skyrim.
Formerly Ultimate Skyrim, formerly Skyrim Roguelike, formerly, this is like the fourth name for it, right?
There's been a lot of names, I guess, at this point. I missed the marketing class about like keeping the same name for brand recognition and retention.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just lose an entire user base every so often to really keep you on your toes and make sure you're still you're doing it.
Keep your brand on your toes.
Exactly.
Just keep an eye on it. You're good.
If they were true fans, they'll figure it out.
Exactly.
They'll figure it out.
It's true, right?
If they really cared.
Yes. It's like, meanwhile, it's like no one's playing. I'm just kidding. Some people are playing. A handful.
So today on the show, we're gonna talk about a book, and it's a book that is. Oh boy. It's a book, all right. It has pages, it has numbers, and this is not a Worlds of Power book. It is a Sega Power book, and it is titled Golden Axe. Golden Axe, everybody. Yeah, that Golden Axe. So a little bit of backstory about the game Golden Axe. Golden Axe was released in 1989 in the arcades. It was a Sega original. It was designed by a man named Makoto Uchida, and he was a huge fan of the Conan movies, clearly huge fan. Conan and Frank Farzetta were just Frank Farzetta posters all up on his wall. Everywhere. And he was also inspired by side-scrolling beat-em-ups like Double Dragon and Street Fighter, which this marks the first time in history that anybody was inspired by Street Fighter 1. It also had ports to the Mega Drive and Master System, Mega Drive, aka Genesis, and the original arcade version ended after beating Death Adder, but the console versions had an additional fight against Deathbringer, and that is Golden Axe. It has also spawned a series that continued up until, I want to say, the early 2010s. I think the last release was it was a game that featured what's her name, the Tyrus Flare, who is the she was the main
Beast
character.
Rider one?
Yes, Golden Axe Beast Rider. Featuring, and Tyrus Flare was the main character, and Tyrus Flare is also the female protagonist in Golden Axe that you can choose from. So that's the game. It's a 3-person game. Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and with the little fella,
the little dwarf again.
Who is Magnet? Yeah. He's a dwarf. I have the. I don't know if you guys usually edit this kind of thing in. I have the cover art just here, like from the book, which is just like, I don't know if I go like this, if you can even pick it up.
Oh yeah,
just
that's what
demonstrate
it's it is so of its time. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's glorious.
Like even the dwarf mage is just like yoked, dude. Like these like bronzed, white, big hair, 80s icons, really.
I love Axe Battler's pose. It's this kind of like just sticking is so
almost
awkward.
a T-pose.
Yeah. What do I do with my hands?
Exactly.
Yeah, Gerald Parrell is the guy's name who did the artwork, and his quote is, "When I was a teenager, I was very much into Conan and all things barbarian." So there you go. Thank you, Google, for...
We got a job for you, Gerald.
No
Gerald,
kidding.
You like this stuff? Can you copy it? And
yes, I can.
So, Phil, you and Dylan were actually talking a little bit about before the show about where from did this book spring?
Yeah, this one, the author, and you guys, and for everyone at home, my computer completely died on me today, so we're doing this by phone. So I'm at a disadvantage.
The old-timey way.
Yes, we're doing it analog today. Not really. I'm still on an iPhone.
As analog
This
as digital
podcast
gets.
sponsored by Alexander Graham Bell.
Dash,
My transatlantic cable. Oh my god.
Transatlantic cable.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was Andy Smith, I believe, is the name of the author of, I think, all of these, the entire series.
Yes.
It's a series of 5. A surprising amount of racing style games in there, like vehicular style games. This is the only like sword and sorcery beat 'em up kind of thing, and this was the first in the series. To top it off, this guy is not like our usual gang of writers for hire. Oh, he's a writer for hire. Don't misunderstand me. But whereas your Alan Dean Fosters, your Shirley's, like all of the people we've talked to, they stay in the genre lane. That is what they're here for. They're here to throw some sci-fi, some fantasy, some horror at your ass. This gentleman, while he was a writer at very least, if not an editor, for a Sega magazine, is that what you found, Dylan?
Yeah, I think that's like in the beginning of the book. I'm pretty sure, at least the implication is that he was the editor of this Sega Power magazine, UK-based Sega magazine, and I think he published these books in that magazine. He might have written them for publication within the magazine. It's not super clear, and I couldn't find any instances of the magazine to, check my work.
I love the Dickensian serialized Golden Axe novel in a magazine.
Yes, absolutely.
Angle. But he. First off, it's a really general name, Andy Smith, so it's kind of hard to find if you're talking about the right guy.
Totally.
But based on what I've found, this guy is a writer for hire for basically everything. If this is the same person, he's written children's books, he's written instructional books, he's written every and not in the way that, for example, FX9, Mr. Seth Godin, seems to have made a pivot to marketing, and he's a very successful marketing expert.
Right.
This guy just kind of if I can vaguely fake my way through 50,000 words and you will pay me for it, I will put my name on it. And that seems to be the name of the game. I could not find a website for him. I think between the general nature of his name and the general nature of his bibliography, if you will, it was tough to find a lot on him. So this guy, we might not be interviewing this guy. Let me just put it that way.
Oh man! If you could,
if we could, we would. Maybe. We talked to Seth Godin, and he's and here's the thing I'll say about Seth Godin is that the Worlds of Power worked because it wasn't a pivot for Seth. He did it because he's a marketing, one of these marketing gurus. He basically saw an opening and already had experience with it once before with Shadowkeep, and was like, hey, wait a minute. I have an idea. Hey, and the reason why I say he already kind of knew what he was doing is because he went to Scholastic. He had a plan.
Yeah,
this doesn't feel like it was constructed necessarily with a plan.
No, I don't think a plan was the first thing on this guy's mind. Dylan, did I leave anything out? I know you did a little research too.
Dude, I think you got it. I think that's at least everything. And again, my research is based singularly on, what's published here in this book and at the very end, in a quick Google search, I guess. So almost singularly. You are better researched than I am. The rest is just all supposition.
Big bucks,
sure, it's true.
That's why Phil gets the big bucks.
Do you know what? Real quick, before we even get into this, do you know what my parents visited this weekend? And my mom, like many of my projects, my creative endeavors, my mother is supportive but does not understand me.
Absolutely.
And so she was asking about the podcast, and she said it was the most confusing question she ever asked. Because I said, yeah, after you guys leave that day on Sunday, we're going to do another episode. And Mom said, does Kevin make money doing this?
It's like,
and I went, well, if Kevin made money doing it, I would also be making money doing it. So
she's like, oh
no, not right now.
maybe she believes that I'm just like, I am the one that is holding the
just stealing all the labor,
and I'm like, I'm straight up big business over here, stealing your labor,
exploiting Phil. Unfortunately,
and Phil needs to form a union of one, a workers' union of one.
My mom is like, Phil makes for a great dancing monkey, but he's not quite bright enough to pull this off on his own. So,
she's wrong about that.
I understand now
Mom,
why
asked
your
that same
brother.
question to Alex Smith. See if he got paid for this. I think
Alex,
you'll find it's like, and this is a real published book.
Was it Alex? What was his name?
I'm sorry if that's. I'm sorry, Andy Smith. I'm sorry.
I think Alex Smith
four-letter generic name.
Was the quarterback?
You're right. It's the quarterback. It's like that's clearly what's in my head.
It's extra confusing because Andrew Smith is also a writer, and as far as I can tell, I don't think he's the same writer. So it's just,
and he also has a series on Golden Axe, which is just
and he did
poor
a series
Andy.
of TurboGrafx novels.
Yes. Oh man.
So.
Which seems equally likely to be novelized than as Golden Axe. That was, I mean.
Yeah.
And who wrote
Anything's
a lot
possible.
about? Who wrote a lot about gold was Adam Smith in the
quarterback.
Yes.
See, full circle.
Yeah,
full circle.
Like full circle.
Beautiful.
I think we can all agree.
Just capitalism, man.
Oh man.
Come
on,
what I say.
man.
Just say that at the end of any question someone asks me or any monologue that I accidentally enter into. Capitalism.
We say that more. It's definitely a non-zero amount of times per episode that I think we blame capitalism for something.
Yeah,
I bet it's legitimate. I bet it's a legitimate.
There's a part of me, as much as we enjoy these books, and as much as a lot of them anyway, we do sense that something is wrong when you have to create a copy of something to make for the sole purpose of making money, and therein lies the folly of the video game novelization.
Sure.
You cracked
I do wonder about this one. Mm-hmm. I wonder. If I had to guess, you know how they say it's always like, I do one for them and then I do one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot guess that this is one for them. You know what I mean? Because who's asking? And just reading it, I mean, I don't. The market for this one, I don't know if it existed or exists now. And just reading through it, we'll obviously get into it, but at least in my opinion, this seemed like I'm convinced that this is basically like a Golden Axe fan fiction. This is like someone who loved Sega enough to make
just a Sega
this
fanboy.
Yeah, unlicensed, like you were saying, Phil.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
I think that's hilarious. Because I think the exact opposite.
Yes, that's clear.
Because this might be one of the most passionless pieces of prose I've ever read.
Sure.
It's on par for our readers, for our listeners who joined us for Mega Man 2 with Worlds of Power. To me, this is on the same level of just like following along. You might not even be playing it.
And we'll get into this probably at the end of the year when we have a special end of the year episode. We start because last year we kind of sorted out a list of where we kind of felt each book felt. I feel like these specific Sega Power and Worlds of Power novelizations have to be on their own separate list away from
they're
other
uncategorizable.
Books. They have to be sequestered. And right now, at the top of that is probably Ninja Gaiden is number one on that list.
Absolutely the best written one.
Best written one by far. Still, sequester them. Keep these. Put them on a ship out to sea. Let's bring out the Middle Ages version of quarantining, where they had people out. where they had people out
I don't
ordering.
think it's changed all that much.
So just quarantining.
No, that was the thing. Is in the old days. This is your fun fact history thing.
Please.
Quarantining literally meant 40 days. So basically, sailors
like
who were coming back from somewhere where they could have caught disease had to be kept offshore for 40 days to make sure that they did not have a disease that could be spread to the mainland.
Yeah, just eradicate a native population. It's like, oops.
I mean, they didn't really care that. Well, they didn't care about that.
Someone else's country.
Fair, yeah. It's like, we'll eradicate someone else, but not us.
It was the coming back that Spain tended to have an issue with.
It's capitalism, man. You know?
It's all capitalism.
Fucking mercantilism, man.
Yeah. It's like,
fucking East India
trading company.
East India Trading Company, man.
Yeah, man.
Chapter 1.
Let me bring this up.
God damn it.
My transitions are usually timed to get Phil to do a spit take. So
success.
Damn it.
So we're introduced to Axe Battler and the land of Yuria. And the big bad evil guy is a dude named Death Adder, and he's been plaguing the land of Yuria for years. Meanwhile, in the bar that Axe Battler's hanging out in, the townsfolk are just torturing a dude. He's referred to as I had to go into the game and make sure, be like, oh, it's probably like a monster or something. No, a Henninger just refers to like a human person who is just one of Death Adder's soldiers. Just a dude.
Sort of. This is I was going to ask you guys about this because I'm not sure and I wanted to get your guys' takes. I did the exact same thing. I went and looked. I was like, I'm assuming this is like a direct novelization of the events of the video game. And I went and looked up the different monster names. And yes, they look like just straight up humans, just regular old humans. But I guess maybe I shouldn't spoil it. They die a certain way that makes me like, Are they humans? I don't know. Well, we'll see. I guess I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But it's an important question because the implications are significant for either answer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If we torture a monster, do we not become the monster?
Yeah. The abyss stares back and all that.
Yeah. The abyss. Yeah. So Tyrus Flare, who is everybody's favorite hot lady on the cover, shows up and relays the news that Death Adder, oh boy, he's really done it now. He's captured the king and the princess, and also says the other guy, who is the dwarf, is not available, and she's too injured to go. So that turns a 3-player game into this becomes a single-player mission. And BT dubs, your best friend Alex, Axe and Alex, who wouldn't become best friends?
I mean,
has been killed.
Think about that.
Your best friend Alex has been slain. So, single player mission. That's chapter 1. They're ready to go.
Fan theory. Yeah. Alex is a metaphor for Axe Battler's soul, for his the best parts on the inside of him, because Alex, when you remove the middle part of Alex, you get Axe, which is, of course, the only reason to have such a stupid fucking name.
Yeah.
Especially when your main weapon is a sword.
I know. Yeah. I was like, someone's got to bring this up. We'll get there, I guess. But yes. Yeah. It is very good.
And by the way, they gave this guy a spin-off. I used to, when I had an old Sega Game Gear, there was a game called Axe Battler, and I would go, whenever we went to the used game store in town, I would buy whatever fantasy-looking, vaguely anything that looked like an RPG, because I was sidled with Sega at that point in my life. So RPGs were kind of, they were low on the ground.
Yeah, few and far between.
Yeah, I had to get what I could get. Axe Battler wasn't quite an RPG, but it was basically like you were on a map and then you'd go to a level and the level would just be a boss. It was just a boss game, and you played Axe Battler and you had a sword even through that. So the only thing I can think of is maybe it's because he's battling for the golden axe.
For the axe. Yeah,
maybe.
I guess it's maybe important to establish that his name is spelled AX.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But the fact that his name is... I always thought it was a title.
Axe.
I always thought of it as a title. And so for this guy to be going...
This is the Axe Battler game. Yeah, it was very surprising.
A weird choice.
Yeah. What's the language that they speak in Barcelona?
Catalan.
Not. Yeah.
No, that's just the region.
No,
is that correct?
Not the you know what I mean.
It begins with a C, right? Yeah.
Isn't X a sh sound in that language?
Oh, we're going.
Could be. Yeah,
I'm
Catalan,
just saying
Spanish.
maybe his name is Ash.
Could be, and then it's like a callback. I don't know. Something tells me that Axe is his name because it's just too. Yeah, there's like the series called Golden Axe. Like this guy's name is Axe.
Yeah, Catalan. Catalan is also the language.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure. I know what you're talking about. It's almost like a. Yeah, I can't say. And is this the?
So are you suggesting that his name is actually Battler?
That'd be Ash.
Ash.
Oh, Ash. Oh,
yes, because the X would be pronounced. But I like that take
I
way
like that
more.
better, for the record.
That's my fan theory. Is that it's Axe, but it's spelled Axe, but it's Catalan, and it's Ash.
I like it.
So Ash Battler.
Ash Battler.
Still got to work on the last name.
Yeah, it's still a stupid name, but it's less stupid now.
Yeah.
So in chapter 2, Ash travels to. He's Ash from now on.
Just going for it, man.
I don't care. Travels to Turtle Village, and there he kills a Henager, a Longmoan, which I don't. These names, Longmoan.
Yeah, I was afraid.
It's in the game as a Longmoan, and you can't search that. You can't search Longmoan.
Can't.
I mean, you can,
and
you can enjoy the results of the search.
Make sure that you hit the shopping tab when you do it.
Yeah.
and a Storchnaya, which let's throw some Russian sounding names in here too.
Yeah.
Yes. When I read that one, I was like, "This was that like a typo of like Stolichnaya, like the vodka?"
Stolichnaya, like
it really does feel that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be what 2 letters off.
But, easily.
Who knows why?
Who knows why these things happen the way they do?
Yes,
I mean,
they're having fun with the names for certain.
It's what's his name, Makoto, who created the game, Uchida. Makoto Uchida, who created the game. Maybe he was just being silly, having a little fun. He's
a big Stoli fan.
Just a big Stoli fan.
He's got to get this in there somehow.
So Ash steals a domesticated dragon known as a chicken leg. And then he beats up on a tiny dwarf creature known as a thief to replenish his potions. And then he takes on another group of bad guys and he body shames a giant. Yeah. That's chapter.
He does. I remember that. I actually made a note of that here, and I was like, "Oh, Ash, come on, man,
Axe, come on, man, kind of a dick." Just because the dude's a big boy doesn't mean you can say that in the process of killing him. You're already killing him. Like, what are you gaining by also making him feel bad about his metabolism?
You're dead now, fatty.
Yeah. Well, this is in the era of like the presidential fitness test. So
I remember those.
Well, actually, but this is UK, so maybe they had something equivalent, like the Queen's jump around bits.
Yes,
I can tell you a little bit about the Queen's jump around bits, but
it's a different kind of podcast. Yeah.
The Queen's Jump Around Bits. Welcome to the Queen's Jump Around Bits. I'm Phil. This is Kevin and Dylan.
Oh
We're going to be talking about those bits. Why they be jumping around so much? Why they on the Queen?
Yes. It's like, I'll see you guys I'll see you guys later.
This was a fun idea. I'm gonna go.
This is great.
If anything,
this is wonderful. I'm going to
better.
leave.
Yes, I would do that podcast. I would say that publicly. Like I won't be a part of it, and then I just hop right back into the Zoom call.
Then you show up,
and that can be that's one for us and the rest for them.
It's spelled Dillon.
Yes, I have like a
totally
fake mustache.
She is celebrating her platinum jubilee. We will speak her Ghibli bits with respect.
Yeah, no, I will dunk on the Queen anytime. It's like, yeah, I've seen The Crown. Capitalism,
I've seen The Crown.
Man.
You know, it's capitalism.
It's not more fucking capitalism.
Yes,
man.
It's all fucking. That's what the
queen of
monarchy
capitalism
is. It's literally chapter 3.
Wait, before, if you don't mind, this is like, because I had the note about him
go for it.
Fat shaming this giant, and this is like when it started to kind of, some of the questions, like the bigger questions, if you have any from the book, started to pop up to me. This is the first time. So in this chapter is when he gets like his first kills on these monsters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like if you go and I'm assuming, like you guys said, you're gonna edit in a picture of any one of these monsters. They're just humans. They look like just people,
just dudes.
Yeah, it's the ones who ride, the dragon. It's the Stolichnaya. I can't remember what the actual name is, but I'm just gonna call them Stolies. They all just look
ladies,
like like generic, like glam metal white buff people.
Oh yeah. And
so I assumed, I was like, are these, is he like, are these human lives being taken? Every time he kills them, they like disintegrate into dust. Yeah. So I was thinking it was like, I'm like, all right, are these kind of, is this like a Power Rangers, like putty people kind of scenario? I think that's the case. But it gets more complicated, and this is the only reason I even said anything at all, is because, we're our fat shaming giant. I believe it's in chapter 2 where the giant like says something back or some responds, or like I can't remember if it's here or not. I'm looking for it, but eventually you'll find that they are intelligent enough to like communicate in the same language that Axe speaks. So there's like a degree of sentience here. So now it's like, even if they are putty people, you know what I mean? Like
they're not just going.
Yeah, like these are sentient creatures that are just being murdered, kind of like. And I get that they're like the agents of the evil guy, but I did think it was like noteworthy, and I was like, okay, I'm just trying to figure out the moral barometer.
But before this book came out, we already had Shadowkeep, where the guy kills a lowly goblin and still thinks to himself, "I don't think I should be doing this." Yeah, so he's got no excuses, man.
This is what I mean. Yeah. It's like, what degree of kind of like ethical grayness are we going to contend with in this? Because the entire thing, it's such an interesting question to me because of the fact that this book exists at all.
Yes.
The book is, because like at that point, like to be clear, for like anyone who's not played Golden Axe, like, it is an extremely simple, like very bare bones, early style, side-scrolling beat 'em up. And this book is this like, what I think is actually like charming about it is it's like this attempt to novelize the very specifically the events of, like, they don't build on the world at all. They don't expand on anything that is not in the games. And there's barely anything in the games to work with, but they still kind of, like write around it. So yeah, it was just kind of like this interesting question, like to me, of like, to what degree are we going to have a character who like thinks about something like that?
Right.
I guess I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah. I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like he kind of
none.
There's
going to be no thoughts. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. It's pretty good. We'll get in. There's more examples that I thought
there's
were
more
funny.
Examples of that, but it's.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of those. Yeah,
we got plenty. Yes. In chapter 3, during this, and chapter 3 literally starts with like the in between level like camp scene where one of the old thief dudes pops out and you get to beat the shit out of him for and steal his potions.
Yeah. Right. And like this, again, like this being the primary in the game, there's the mechanism by which you replenish your resources is like, the little random dudes run across every so often and you like bop them. Yes. And
tiny man.
Yes. Like you steal their items and it's kind of like, oh, but it's okay because they're thieves. It says this in the book. It's like everyone kind of tolerates them because there's so many of them. So we just do this. We take their food and their potions.
They kind of treat them like a different species. Like, it's
they are.
Yeah, a thief isn't the name of their profession.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Where it's like you think, oh, it's like a thief. Like here's a guy who's a thief. It's like no, it's a thief and also a different species that they call thief, who also happen to be thieves. It's very strange. This is what I mean. The source material does not give you that much to work with. So the idea that this man is here,
a rare blue spotted thief. You
yes,
know? Like,
exactly.
It opens so many questions of moral, and this is a side note. I was considering back when I was doing the video, the YouTube video thing, I was thinking about writing a video about how violence is portrayed in games as too often the only solution for so many of the problems, because it's like, there's the old ludonarrative thing of like Uncharted. You like, there used to be there was like an achievement in Uncharted called ludonarrative dissonance for after you killed 1,000 dudes.
Right.
It's like I'm the good guy.
I am the good guy, and
1,000 human lives taken.
And it's like it gets, not to get all like I don't know, like a Coldplay song playing in Barnes & Noble, but you start to ask what the weight of human life is.
Yes, that is exactly it.
Yeah.
And you have the thieves who just, run. It's like the idea that the author chose to just portray it exactly as it was versus, he had a conversation with the thief and like then convinced him to give it to him, or like he, accosted him multiple times throughout the book. There will be a little section where it's like, yeah, and then he saw another thief, so he bopped him, and then he got
shit out of
6
him.
more potions, and, as one does. It is just like an attempt to just narrativize, for lack of a better term, exactly what happens in the game, which is special.
Nothing is really left out, but nothing is expounded upon either.
No, it's just exactly what's in the game. It's not, you see so many, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir.
Less.
Exactly. You guys have read so many video game adaptations. Yes. Where it's like they'll take because video games, especially like older ones, obviously don't give you as much like narratively. They're just like relatively simple experiences. So when you have, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the experts, I imagine when you have these adaptations, a lot of the time you'll get, or it's like, movie adaptations of so many things, you'll get a lot more in the adaptation than was really present. It like the Castlevania anime use that, right? So it's like Castlevania 3, there is technically a story. Yeah. It's very simple, and they build this entire narrative and world and universe out of it. That is not Golden Axe, this book. No. I don't know if there's a subtitle. And I just think that's so ballsy. I can't help but respect someone who's like, nah, it's gonna be the game.
We talk
and this
a
is
lot
what the game is.
about the goal of an adaptation, and it's one of the things that we kind of stumbled upon early on, was that one of the main goals of an adaptation should be matching tone. Is like there shouldn't be a tonal disconnect between adaptation and source material, but that doesn't mean that you can't expand the universe, or expand the stuff that you find in the source material to kind of, because like a lot of, so for example, the best chapters,
be able to tell a good story.
Yeah, you still got to be able to tell a good story. The best chapters of the Flood, and we interviewed the author of Halo: The Flood, and he was telling us that he had to beg Bungie to let him write these interstitial chapters that were just the stuff that he created whole cloth, because the meat of the game was not enough. So these chapters still matched the tone of the rest of Halo, but they were so important to the enjoyment of the book, because the Master Chief parts of Halo: The Flood are by far the worst parts of the book. Like if you're balancing the two against each other. And it's because it is just what the game is.
Yes, so, it's like there's not a lot to work with there in terms of telling a good story, at least in those games in particular.
So in order to tell the story, you do have to, pump it up a little bit.
Yes. It's like otherwise you end up with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the people who said it best, and he wasn't talking about adaptation so much, but it's totally valid, was Alan Moore. When they were asking him if he would write a screenplay for The Watchmen before that was a thing that had happened already, and he said no, and they said why not, and he said because if I wanted to write a movie, I would have written a fucking movie.
Yeah, sure.
And that is so if you're going to adapt it, the question becomes, it's kind of like covering a song. If you're going to cover the song, what are you going to do that's different? Right. What's the what purpose? What are you going to do a new take on it? Are you going to, and the reason things like Golden Axe, for example, fails, in my opinion, is because there is
nothing new.
There is less than no reason to read this book because Golden Axe fucking rules as a game. It's a great game. It's so much fun. I love that game. It was one of the earliest games I played as a kid, and I still have fond memories of it. And it's way less exciting, invigorating, and fun to read the book. So what's the point?
Yeah. What's the point if you're not?
It is true.
So continuing on chapter 3, so there's the thing with the thief. Axe then deals with a Henninger, making him fall to his death. He rescues some children, kills some more dudes. And then we have a nice double beat as he kills a storage Naya and steals another dragon. Happens like another. Still, it's a double beat.
Exactly. It's like every time. It's like clear. I played Golden Axe like for literally 30 seconds, and it's like the amount of times in this game that I killed the lady and I stole her dragon. I bopped a thief like on the bum and got some potion. So many things. I'm like, these sound like game mechanics that you would mention maybe once in like a novelization of a game, but nope. It's like every time. I almost wonder if it's like shot for shot. I was like, are the exact same amount of monsters in this book as there are like in the games? Because it almost feels like it might be. Yes,
it feels like the way they're described. It's like So in chapter 4, Axe saves more children. He murders a woman who is begging for mercy. Which that scene,
one of the
really
Stolies, right?
Out. One of the Stolies is begging for mercy, and he's like, but you're a bad guy, and he stabs her in the heart. And I was like, that's a lot. So I guess we can expand and expound where we see fit, and that expounding is just in the worst way possible.
It's like if that doesn't happen in the game, it's like this is the thing that you chose to kind of try and...
That's the thing he wanted to do. He was like,
add something to...
I haven't heard enough women in this book. We started off by completely, negating, what was the line he talks about with the female warrior character? He says she was one of the greatest fighters ever seen. Of course, he'd never
wouldn't tell her that.
Tell her. Yeah.
Yes.
Why? Why wouldn't you tell her that?
Yes.
Well, he's got to keep negging her,
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never admit that a woman's good at something.
He is.
I'm also wondering.
Badler is employing the Dennis method.
Yes, absolutely. And I wonder too if there's not. And I hope that this is. I'm sorry, it's not Alex Smith. What is his name? Andy Smith. It could be a great guy if he's. I don't know if it's just the source. I mean, you look at the cover of Golden Axe and it doesn't exactly scream, hyper progressive at you, which is not a. I mean, I understand that it's the style at the time, like kind of the Conan the Barbarian, but I also wonder it's like those components, like in the tavern, and then also this, like I'm gonna murder this one, and also what was it, the giant, who I guess in his defense was male, but still it's like, hey, fatty, like, you're so fat. Also, I'm gonna kill you. It makes me wonder how much of that is Andy versus like if there's like axe battlers kind of reading this book going, dude, what? Like, why would you?
I would never do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I would never do that.
Like, where does it start, or like what percent?
Well, it's like, I'm a huge fan of the original Robert E. Howard Conan short stories. I adore his work. I find it to be amazing. And you read it and you're like, this is like, not great sometimes. I'm just gonna. It's like Lovecraft. You're like, this is.
Yes.
Great
concept. Bad stuff here.
Bad details.
Bad details.
And then you read this and you're like, but that was extra though. This is extra.
Right. It's like, well, there's the answer to the question, I guess. Yes, it's like Phil. It's like, what are you going to add? What is the impetus for this to exist? It's like, well,
misogyny.
Yeah, misogyny. Killing this lady.
So he faces off against some skeletons, and I put in my notes, after winning, because all Axe does is win, baby, he beats up on some more thieves.
After defeating people and murdering defenseless women, I like to kick dwarves in the ass and steal their money.
Steal their money and their food.
Their meat and their potions.
Yes, the potions, the only thing they can stay alive with.
A giant turtle talks to him and big reveal. Turtle Village is on the back of a giant turtle.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And the turtle's like, hey, I'll take you across the ocean. Just promise not to stab me in the back like the proverbial scorpion. Because I just saw you kill a woman who was begging for mercy.
Yeah. 15 minutes later, concerned. We hear the words, "Sorry, dude, I'm an axe battler," and the whole island just
oops.
It's in my nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the first 4 chapters. Now, chapter 5. Go ahead, Phil.
We do. This goes into chapter 5. We do get a little bit of expounding here with the dialogue between the turtle and him.
Yeah.
We don't get and I will say, and this kind of puts it above Mega Man 2 in the sense that the turtle's kind of an interesting character because he kind of gives Axe Battler shit. Because Axe Battler's like this very like rah, we're gonna win because I'm on the side of justice. I've got something.
That's right. He's very convinced.
Yeah, and the turtle goes, "You're a fucking idiot." You know?
Yeah.
He's kind
Turtle's
of
not digging it.
Yeah, he's kind of the turtle from the Never-Ending Story. He's Mothra, something like that. Now we don't even care whether or not we care.
I did like the turtle. Yes, I did like that he said that to him. I like Axe Battler having his first moment of the first I'm just the best, or like because the skeleton gets some good hits in. He's like, oh, actually, if I'm not careful here, like I'm gonna fuck it up. And then having this conversation with the turtle, where the turtle's basically like, yo, man,
you're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah. If you're not careful, you're gonna fuck it up. It's like he calls him a fool. He's like, I have justice and hope on my side, and that's not something that
he pulls out an Obama poster.
Yeah, it's like change. It's gonna happen.
Open change,
and then the turtle's like, not by itself.
Okay.
So yeah, I did like that overall.
Confirmed leftist turtle.
Yes, absolutely. It's like, I want you to win, dude, but like you can't just wish for it and make it happen.
You can't just wish for it, man.
I need to change my handle, and I need my brand to go from El Conquistador to leftist turtle.
I think that would be good for you.
That is not bad, dude. Or just like Phil, leftist turtle, and then you can switch it up to like whatever you want it to be. But that is a great one.
I think I love it. I love that for you. I love that. And also, turtles consistently are the best. If you've, Dylan, have you played Elden Ring?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and so
I think you're talking about the dogs though in Elden Ring, right? I don't remember any turtles in that game.
Oh yeah, it's only dogs. Sorry. Yeah,
yes.
No, there's a.
That's sick.
That's the meme. Air horns. There's a turtle pope in Elden Ring, and he's just the best dude. He's literally a turtle sitting there with like a pope hat on. He's just a gigantic turtle sitting there with a pope hat, and he's been there forever. And he's like, he's the best. You bring him your spells, he'll teach you spells, and he's like, I'm not going anywhere. Bring me your shit.
His mechanical role is to like literally absolve you of sins, which is like, dang, you know.
Turtle.
You start beating up on him, and he'll just let you kill him. He's like pure pacifist. Most people won't let you do that in those games. Turtles are just cool, man.
Just cool.
I feel like there's so many. Dude. I could be. This is you guys are much better read than I am. I'm trying to think of like historical examples of cool turtles. I can think of like Avatar. Terry Pratchett, yeah, okay, that's probably like the, for a lot of people, yes, Discworld would be like a good example. Avatar, Last Airbender, big turtle, big spirit. I feel like maybe there's got to be some sort of like, theological history of turtles being like these wise creatures. You climb on the back of a turtle in Majora's Mask. I remember that. I don't know if you guys played Zelda.
Yeah.
One of the turtles takes you to and from one of the dungeons. Turtle bros, you know, they're great.
Yeah. Donatello's my favorite.
The Ninja Turtles.
Donatello was
yeah. See, you got, yes, that is true.
And you know, depending on the species, they live forever. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's probably why the
crazy.
wise thing happens, because
Yes, you're right.
There would be like people pass pet turtles down through family, and it's like, oh, well, I mean, the turtles. My grandfather bought the turtle, and then the turtle outlived my dad. So
Yeah, dude, I think you figured it out. That's got to be exactly it, man.
it's just always been kind of walking around the garden for the past 200 years.
I think the turtle absorbed my dad's soul, because now they walk out in the garden, and it's weird.
Damn.
Yeah, so that happens in chapter 5, and then he drops him off, and Axe Battler kills a couple of girl bosses called Strobias, which are the leveled up versions of the Stolies, and a few more giants.
And I guarantee it mentions how he jumps on one of their dragons like after he kills them.
Sure.
Like
I think
there has to be. I'll verify.
I think I stopped noting double beats around chapter 5.
Which because we'll be
for the
here all
best.
day.
Yeah, no kidding. That is true.
And then we get to chapter 6, and he kills a few captains of Death Adder's army, and then he fights the Tower Knight from Demon Souls.
That's right. That is exactly what I pictured in my head as well the whole time. I'm glad that we're on the same page about that.
And then he tricks the Tower Knight into telling him where Death Adder's castle is.
Oh my god.
Come on, man.
Dude, yes. I'm like looking at Phil on that one too. I was like, bro, I'm assuming we all kind of clocked this one, or just like, Axe Battler, what an ingenious interrogator you are. Like, that's definitely what would have happened. This guy would have just immediately, while he's talking about how he doesn't trust you, he would immediately tell you where his like boss is that he knows that you don't know.
He's not here, you idiot. He's over there. Like,
He's over there. He's over in... Okay, sorry. You go down this road.
It's like, but don't
left.
though.
But don't.
But don't do that. That's where you would go if you were supposed to.
If you see the lows, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to make a right, and then there's some train tracks, and then you'll be there. You are, but don't go there, because I'm gonna kill you right now.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm bleeding.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm dying.
It's like, did you just call me fat?
Yeah. Fuck.
An asshole.
And then in my notes I wrote, and oh my god, there's still 10 chapters left.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, dude.
So this thing is called the Fiend's Path that he's on, and he really brief notes here. He's walking along the Fiend's Path, gets attacked by a bunch of dudes, and eventually the wind starts blowing feathers at him, and the ground is trembling. It's trembling, it's shaking, and it's all that fun stuff. And then chapter 8, we get long. See, here's the thing. Why I don't think the long moans and the Henningers are monsters is because we get specifically zombie versions of them in this chapter.
That is also true.
Yeah.
So they were resurrected. These guys are resurrected from the dead, which makes me think that they crumble to ash in the game because it was 1989 and processing power was limited.
Yeah. I think you might be on B.
Could be.
It would be like writing into like a Final Fight or a Double Dragon novelization. Be like, after killing the guy, he blinked a few times and disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the it's like if someone then wrote a book for Double Dragon and very explicitly described how that exact thing happens when you kill them. You know what I mean? That's like me. So it's like if he's, you know, like writing this book and like he kills them and they still turn into ash. I'm like, that's now canon in our universe, baby. Like these people, when they die, they turn to ash. But as you just said, Kevin, you're right. There's also zombie versions of these creatures that come to life. To me, I mean, I guess, you know, you can't conclude that they have souls, but it's certainly implied, or at least I think, you know,
because, you know,
maybe I guess you don't need a soul to be a zombie, or like maybe
I think what's important
they're the soulless husks of the living thing, right?
Well, but, you know, you bring up an interesting point with the soul factor, because I think that basically lays it out that human creature, they do have souls and therefore require the salvation of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Yes, which is, I'm sure, that where the book will end, you know, or it says, I don't want to spoil the ending of the book too much, but there's, you know, it seems like there could be even more adventure to come. And like, what if that's the ultimate, you know what I mean? That's where we land.
Is giving your life
the salvation of your soul.
The ultimate adventure of saving your soul.
Yeah. And your precious virginity.
Yes. And your precious virginity. And then it's like fat, it's either. Like the dude don't be fat. And then the dude takes his mask off. The author takes his mask off, and it's like Jack Chick.
I know. My god.
It was a chick track all along.
Axe Battler, the coolest youth pastor in the world.
Absolutely.
Oh man, Axe Battler cannot sit in a chair normally. He has to spin them all around. He has to
sit on it backwards.
He's got to get that backwards.
Exactly.
Let's rap a little bit about
sorry.
A man I know and love. His name's Jesus. Have you heard of him? And that's Axe Battler at Jeebus Camp. Yeah, that's what he's doing there.
You guys could be onto something.
We could be.
It's like I'm now reading back through for subtext. Subtext.
No,
it's really subtle.
Dylan, just take our word for it.
Sure.
Insert the Garth Marenghi meme of I know authors who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Right.
That's awesome. I've not seen that.
What's it? I'm trying to remember what it's actually from. I can't remember the name of the show, but it's it's just this author. He's like has sunglasses and slicked back hair, and the caption at the bottom is I know authors who use subtext and they are all cowards.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I kind of like I got to a point in my life where I was like, I almost agree with that.
Sure, yeah, it is. You can kind of see. I mean, and again, that's why Andy among the best. You know what I mean?
Among the best.
I'm going to spell it out for you. Yes,
right
you will know exactly how I feel and what's going on.
Please don't think. Yeah, please don't think. So he's fighting through the zombos. He gets to the end of the path and finds out that he's been walking, and there's only one set of footsteps. Where he was being carried.
By Jeff.
The big man upstairs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
God is good. And all the time.
God is good.
God is good.
And then he's been walking on the back of an eagle. On eagle. Now I'm thinking of On Eagle's Wings. And you raise me up. Oh God, no.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
no.
I was joking
Someone
before.
Put a wallet under his tongue.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's really all coming together now. And the Fiend's Path used to be called the Friend's Path.
God. Are we writing this down? We taking notes?
Yeah.
We're taking notes. The Fiend's Path, they dropped an R at some point. The eagle used to just take people soaring through the sky. And then the eagle is sad that doesn't happen anymore. So he's going to help Axe Battler. And
something here. It's like the eagle is supposed to be some sort of spirit or something of the world. It's somehow also corporeal because he also gives him a ride.
Yeah, but I mean, just like the giant turtle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how the something they cast a spell or something. It really doesn't say. It's like this is like the one. like interesting. I guess, yeah, it's like, and then also Phil said about the turtle being like, oh, this is interesting, but it's like, we're not going to stop on that for too long. Or
we're
not
going to stop on
Maybe
this
it's
one.
obvious in the game. Maybe he's really counting on you to have played it as well.
There's no
despite
women
spelling
to kill.
out the entire game.
Yeah. Surprising lack of women to murder in the game itself. That is the.
Let's move along.
Let's move it along, fellas. Speaking of moving along, we're going to take a break, and we're going to pause the episode right here, and Dylan's going to be joining us in the next episode for more Golden Axe.
More Golden Axe.
We'll see you then.